the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Wilton, joined by Sergeant Wilton. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good.
You know, I have a really good friend, and he was in the Army. He had a service dog when he served, and he ended up bringing that service dog home and then later transitioned into the sheriff's department, and then they used that dog as a canine. And when my friend lost that dog, he's a bachelor, and this dog was his whole world. And there would be times where I would talk to him on the phone, and then he would have to get off the phone because his dog was throwing up or something. Everything about his world just revolved around it. And you and I actually sent him flowers when the dog passed away. And it got me thinking about how there's a lot of officers or first responders or just all of us in general that bond so deeply with their pets, but there's some reasons why.
And we've, Ashley and I talk about this, our dogs are our babies. We love our dogs. I mean, I couldn't take them out to be canines with me because they're small, but it's...
Beretta thinks she's a canine every day you go to work, though.
That is true. It's and I don't think I really even recognize it. I've always loved animals. I really care about animals, and till we were watching Marley and Me one time, and that was just such a sad movie, and that just broke me up. It was so sad, and there's a connection that you get with your animals, whether it's your work partner or whether it's just your family. It's a connection like no other.
Yeah, and so I want to talk about why the bond is so strong, and then what happens when your pet actually becomes your only safe place. And obviously, pets offer something that a job or another person never could: unconditional love, zero judgment. They have this constant presence. We got all of our dogs groomed yesterday, and it's the first time that we dropped them all off at the same time. And the vet actually said, "You're going to have to come back and pick up Bureau because she's a psychopath at the groomer." So we ended up having to make 2 trips to go pick them up. But the first trip back home, after dropping off all 3 of them, we walk in, and my first thing that I said to you is, I can't imagine people who have a home without dogs.
I know. It was so silent. No one was there to greet us. It was sad in a way.
I think that for first responders in particular, though, animals offer this sort of pure and wordless support. I feel that so much. Yesterday, we went to go check on Buttercups, and I was feeding her carrots, and we were just having a cute little moment together. She kept taking her head and putting it on either side of my shoulder because I kept taking the carrots she wasn't eating while she was chewing and hiding them behind my back. And we were just playing a little game. And there's something that happens in silence with our animals. Horses are a whole other level. And I think that an example of this would be your dog curling up next to you after you've had a really hard call, and they don't need an explanation. They just sort of become this safe emotional outlet that humans actually don't always provide.
Yeah, and they can sense if something's good, wrong, bad, whatever it may be going on, and they know just to be there with you and just to be present.
Yeah, and they're not asking for details. They're not making you explain anything. Maybe you come home and you're totally wrecked. They're just happy that you walk through the door. And I think that the impact that this has is that it offers this sort of peace in moments when you might feel emotionally spent. And also, animals do a great job at creating a routine in your day. So whether it's feeding them, walking them, grooming them, it's a structure that exists very similar to things that are rigorous when you're at work or maybe you're in the military. When the rest of the world feels chaotic, this is still going to be there. And this helps to build a lot of stability, especially during shifts of high stress or even trauma.
Yeah, being able to find that sense of peace with your animals, with whatever it may be, but it's I know when I come home, I have Beretta and Bureau. They just swarm me. And Bo is with his mama. Of course, he doesn't come over there, but because he's happy with her. But like, I have to take a minute just to say hi to them. Otherwise, they're just going to keep going crazy.
Well, I'm Bo's safe space. He's in my arms, so he doesn't get trampled when you come home. And here's the truth. Your pet is the one thing that you don't have to fix. So in a world of problems to solve, you come home and your pet just needs you to show up. And this really helps to be able to reinforce the simplicity and that emotional presence, I think. And unfortunately, the loss of a pet feels like you're losing a therapist almost. And when that silent companion is gone, I feel like the grief can hit harder than you expect. And this could even bring up a lot of those unresolved emotions or even unprocessed trauma.
Yeah, and I also think like I've heard people say in the past is like, I don't want to lose another dog, or I don't want to lose that. But it's so easy to focus on the possibilities and the inevitable that will happen instead of really focusing on the good that they provide to you within that duration of their lives.
And, there are ways to deepen that healing without becoming dependent. And one example of this is I remember probably the first year that we brought Buttercups home. I remember us having a conversation, Clint, and you said to me, she's our horse. I love her, but ultimately she's my partner. And if something ever happened, she's there to have my back. Meaning like if she needed to act as a shield or a protector, she would, and she in a working capacity serves that purpose.
Yeah, being able to have that understanding of, like, I'm going to have to use her in this instance. Like, if it's avoidable, absolutely. But if I had to, like, my life is just as important as hers, but I'm going to have to protect others as well. And that's where she can come into play and sacrifice that.
Yeah. And I think you did a great job at recognizing the emotional role that she plays. And ultimately, this helps to just build better awareness around a healthier attachment.
Yeah. Having an understanding, having those conversations it's explaining the realities behind something. Inevitably, if you have those conversations with your loved ones, with this is what's going to happen. You're preparing yourself. It doesn't make it easier, but you are preparing yourself to where when the inevitable happens, you're able to cope with it a little bit better.
I have a friend who's deployed right now, and he has a dog who's staying with a friend, and very similar situation. He's a bachelor. The dog is his entire world. And something that he does right is he lets that bond be a bridge to human connection. So you can share stories, you can attend pet-centered events, you could talk about your pet in therapy, let it open doors for human connection. What he does is he, on the side, he has like a hunting business, and he takes guys out to go hunting. And guess what? They bring their dogs. Mm-hmm. So that's a great bridge to be able to have it to where it's not just you and your pet, and you're not creating codependency, nor are you creating any kind of isolation, nor are you putting yourself at risk of losing that pet, and then it's just you left there by yourself.
And that makes me think of my dad and his dog, Bear. He goes out every morning with a group of guys where the dogs go out and they hike and they play, and my dad's just hanging out talking with the guys that he met, and like he's never known any of these guys before this, and now they all have a friendship, and they kind of have, on Thursdays it's Donut Thursdays, so one of them brings donuts and all the dogs go out and play, and they have so much fun, and it's really enjoyable for not only the dogs but for them as people to just connect and have a different outlet.
The most difficult aspect to this is actually preparing for loss without avoiding it. One of my best friends lost his dog, and he shared stories with me about how his wife and his kids would say things like, "Oh, the day that the dog dies, we're going to have to make sure we're not home. Like, we don't want to be around you when something happens to her." And he himself would say things like, "I'm going to lose it if she dies. I'm going to go into a depression. Like, I don't even want to think," all those things. And life has a funny way of preparing us for things when the timing is right. And so in his particular case, he saw her getting old. He saw her starting to develop ailments that were painful. And despite him doing everything he could to make her comfortable, one day on his own, he called me to share that, you know, he knew it was time, and he came to terms with that. And, you know, that was maybe 7 months ago, I want to say, 8 maybe. And now he's to the point of looking for another pet, another dog. And so I think that it's really important to have that kind of preparedness in mind, because just as it is for us, like nothing lively lasts forever.
Yeah, and having a plan, having understanding, and things work out the way they do, the way they're supposed to. And it's making it okay and accepting the good with it.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below. And as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.